I'm the area manager for Torrens University, Australia, and I'm based in Spain, in the Canary Islands. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Go Study team, for inviting me today. I'm very happy to be here to share with you some information about Torrens University and higher education opportunities in Australia.
Cool. Thank you so much, Flava. So, hello everyone, thank you for joining the meeting. Today we are glad to have you on board this new webinar we are organizing for higher education together with the special guest Torrens University and with Flavia. So she's the marketing representative of one of our best partner in Australia for higher education. So my name is Benjamin. I'm based in France. I'm the country manager of Go Study Australia for the French and all the French markets. And I will be here to reply to your question if you do have so in the chat box. And of course, at the end, if you have any question, I will be here to help Francesco, who is going to do the presentation. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, my turn. My name is Francesco Dusi. I'm based in Italy, but I am the regional manager for the UK and wider Europe market, which includes Germany, Netherlands, and basically all countries where Go Study doesn't have a physical office in Europe. So thank you very much for joining us. Today we're going to talk about higher education and Torrens University in particular. So let's give another 2-3 minutes to other attendees to join us, and then we can start.
Yes,
in the meantime, if you want to, you can share your nationality on the chat box. I'm going to show you where it is if you don't know how to use Google Meet. Okay, you should see my screen right now. You can just click on here, chat with everyone, and you can send messages here. Okay, and please, guys, put yourself on mute and switch the camera off for a better connection of everyone. Let's wait another couple of minutes to start.
Okay, so we have one from Germany.
Well done, the less shy one.
Okay, so in 1 minute time, Francesco?
Yeah, we will start in 1 minute. Please, guys, switch your camera off.
So we have a Finnish lady as well. So hello, Finland. Hello, Germany.
Hello, Katarina. Hello, Nele. How are you?
Okay.
So, let's go, Francesco.
Yes. Okay. Let's
just before you start, just to let you know, people who are online, the webinar is recorded and will be sent by email and will be in our social media platforms. So you can even watch it again if you missed some information. Thank you so much.
Okay, I would say to introduce ourselves once again, very briefly, for people who just joining us. So Flavia, you can go first.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for your attendance today, for joining us today. Hi, also hi from Port Switzerland. So yeah, my name is Flavia. I'm the area manager for Torrens University, Australia. And I'm looking after European applications, students' European applications for Torrens University, Australia. So thank you very much for joining us today. And I'm looking forward to meet you all.
Cool. So my turn, my name is Benjamin. I'm the country manager of the agency based in France of Go Study Australia. And I'm also the sales offshore operation manager for the offices we have and we all offshore, which means like in LATAM and in Europe as well. So welcome on board, and we are looking forward to your questions.
My turn. Hello, everyone. My name is Francesco, and I'm based in Italy, but I look after the UK and wider Europe market. So basically all regions in Europe where Go Study doesn't have a physical office. So mainly Germany, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Scandinavia, the UK, and Eastern European countries. Okay, I would say, guys, shall we go? Shall we start?
Let's go.
Sure.
Okay. So the webinar today is mainly based on higher education. So as you can see from the first page, our special guest today is Flavia from Torrens University, one of our main partners in Australia. So let's start. So these are the points we are going to go through today very briefly. We're going to talk about Australia, why is it the perfect study destination, the study options you could choose in Australia, why to choose Torrens University, how to place an application to one education provider, how the student visa works, which sort of accommodation you could expect in Australia, which kind of student jobs you could expect in Australia, and the visa 485, which is the postgraduate visa for people attending and finishing a higher education course in Australia. So let's go with the first slide about destination Australia. Australia is classified as the 12th happiest country in the world. So definitely you're not going to be sad in Australia. This is probably due to the 300 days of sunshine around the country, the positive vibes you can find everywhere. It's the third most popular destination for an experience abroad. I'm sure many of you are aware of the working holiday visa, which is a special visa also to give working and travel opportunities to Australia. We're not going to focus on that today. We're going to talk mainly on student visa. 3 of the world's top 15 student cities are located in Australia. So you definitely have a wide choice of where to study. In general, Australia has a great environment and life quality. You know, the contact with nature is fantastic and the quality of life is great, thanks also to the to the work experience you could have. The education system is fantastic. Many universities are ranked on the top 1% university in the world. It's an English-speaking country. So if English is not your first language, you're definitely going to improve your English knowledge. And it's a great to have a work experience and put on your CV as well, beside the educational experience. Okay. Second slide, study options. As said, today we're going to focus mainly on higher education, but just to make you aware, in Australia, you have 3 possible study options. The first one, ELICOS, which stands for English courses. So you can study different kind of English courses, especially based on your level. So the general English, the English for business, IELTS and Cambridge preparation, demi-pair and English for academic purposes. So these are all different kind of English courses you can find in Australia. Vocational studies, better known as VET, they are a para-university courses. So they are a bit a lower level than a bachelor degree, but they are great if you want to have a short study experience between 6 months up to 2 years in Australia. So you could study a certificate, 2, 3, 4, diploma, or an advanced diploma. Then higher education, of course. So as a higher education, you can decide to study a bachelor degree, which usually lasts 3 or 4 years, depending on the faculty, a graduate diploma or a graduate certificate, which is a postgraduate course, okay, which usually goes for 6 months, 1 year and a half. Again, it depends on the faculty and the university. And then a master degree. A master degree usually goes for 2 years. Also, it's possible to have a study abroad program. which is usually a semester or 1 year study abroad you can have from your country to Australia. Okay. Do we have any questions so far?
Not yet. So
No? Okay, let's carry on. Very briefly about English courses, and then we switch on that and higher education. So for English courses, you can enroll more or less every Monday for a general English course. It's a bit different for Cambridge and IELTS courses. But yeah, again, if you have any questions about this, just send us an email. You will have our full details at the end of this presentation. The duration can go, it depends, between 12 weeks up to 36 or even longer course. This is up to you, how long you would like to study in Australia, what is your goal, etc. The cost, we're talking always about Australian dollars, so not euros. It's between $220 up to $450. So it depends if you're willing to study evening courses, a day course, and of course the quality of the college where you're going to study. What are the main goals to study English in Australia? Of course, to improve your English. That's logic. To get an English certification such as IELTS or Cambridge. It could be a university requirement. So universities have entry requirements. We're going to talk about it in details later. To meet new people, so to have an international network, so meeting people from all over the world. To improve your English level, to then seek work opportunities, and to migrate as well, as Australia has requires a specific level of English in order to migrate. As mentioned before, the course type, general English, English for business, IELTS and Cambridge preparation, English for academic purposes, English plus. Attendance, usually 20 hours per week. You can choose between a day course or evening course. Prerequisites, there is none for general English, so even the lowest level are okay. For specific courses, you must have, let's say, intermediate up to advanced level. In any case, we can arrange with our partner a free English test to test your English before placing any application. Any questions about the English courses?
Seems not. It seems not. Don't be shy, guys.
No, also don't be shy, so you can give me a chance to have some water while I talk.
So
okay, yeah. Let's carry on. Vocational courses, again, 2 to 12 intakes per year. It depends on the college, on the course. So it can be usually July and February or each month. The duration, it depends on the course, again, from 6 months up to 2 years, it depends. It could be a standalone course or a package. The cost, again, the range is between 6,000 Australian dollars up to 20,000 Australian dollars, depending on the course you would like to attend. Goals, to get an Australian qualification, which is great for your CV once you go back home. To gain international experience, again, fantastic opportunity once you go back home to find a job. It could be a good chance to then apply for the 485 visa. We're going to talk about this later. And it could be an amazing opportunity to extend your stay in Australia if you are already in Australia, or if you had used your working holiday visa and you wish to return to Australia and you are now offshore. The kind of courses you could have: certificate 2, 3, 4, diploma, advanced diploma, and guys, really for a vocational course, you could study more or less anything from business to marketing to floristry, fitness. There is a course more or less for anyone in Australia. Attendance, again, more or less 20 hours per week. This depends on the college and on the course, of course. So it can be twice a week attendance in presence plus online studies. But yeah, some colleges are more flexible than others. So yeah. as requisites, English must be a level of intermediate, so at least 5.5 IELTS or equivalent. So it doesn't mean you must have an IELTS qualification, but you must have 5.5 equivalent. And then you need to have finished at least high school, so year 12 equivalent or year 11 for some countries to access some vocational courses. But even if you didn't complete your high school programs back home and you study for at least 10 years, you might be able to access most of certificates, okay? Now, the hot topic of today, universities. So usually universities have between 2 and 4 intakes per year. The main intakes are usually February and July, so as vocational. The duration, it can be from 6 months, for example, for a postgraduate certificate or a study abroad certificate for 1 semester, up to 4 years, so for a full bachelor. The cost between $18,000 up to $60,000 per year. Guys, $60,000. I've been in Go Study for 10 years. I never had a student willing to go for a $60,000 course. But yes, there are if you want to study medicine, for example. Some universities, they give us great scholarship, and Torrens is one of them. So you can actually get a good partial scholarship on your tuition fee up to 35%. What's the goal? So get an international degree. And we all know how important is that when you get back home and you look for a job. Again, international work experience. While you study, you can also work, and most of the higher education programs, they do have also work placement. So you're going to gain experience while you study. A study abroad experience, as mentioned before, so you can study 6 months or 1 year while you're completing your bachelor or master degree back home. And then again, completing a higher education program can lead to the 485 visa, which we are going to talk later. Course type, bachelor, usually 3 years duration or 4, graduate certificate, 6 months, graduate diploma, 1 year, master, usually 2 years, and PhD. Also, you can study a university as a study abroad, so 1 year or a semester. Attendance, it depends. Again, 15, 20 hours per week, face-to-face lesson plus self-study. And then you must have, it depends on the faculty you want to attend, but at least a 6.0 IELTS level equivalent. So it's pretty much an advance. And to enter a bachelor degree, you must have at least an year 12 equivalent. So, for example, if you are from the UK, you must have A levels. If you are from Germany, you must have completed the Abitur, etc. Of course, to get, we didn't write this down, but to get into a master degree, you must have completed a bachelor degree in most cases. Okay. Now, I will leave Flavia talking about Torrens University. So Flavia, when you're ready.
Hi, thank you very much, Francesco. So, well, as I said, my name is Flavia, and the area manager for Torrens University Australia for the European market. So I'm based in Europe. And well, there is a lot to mention about Torrens University, but I will cover the key points just to share a bit of our university profile with you guys. So basically, Torrens University is one of the youngest universities in Australia and also one of the fastest growing university. And this is because we provide a very unique approach to learning. And basically, the key points I will say is the fact that we are very industry focused. This means that in all our courses, we include industry placement with top partners. Let's say, for example, we collaborate with PlayStation for our software engineering, game development degree, and Sony for technology, Vogue for fashion, and many others. So we have more than 3,600 partners. in the top from the top industries we are offering. Also, we are a big university. We offer more than 300 courses in different locations. We will talk about this very soon in a minute. And even though we are a big university, we offer a personalized attention through a smaller class size to give more personalized attention to students and be able to engage better with lecturers. In fact, this is also one of our highlights, that our lecturers are professionals in their field. And when I say this, I mean that, for example, some of them teach with us, but also actually work in the field they are teaching. And this will definitely also provide you an additional way to increase your networking. Another key point I really don't want to miss is the fact that we have dedicated success coaches, and we assign them from the very first day to all our students, meaning that the success coach will be helping you not only reviewing your resume or practicing interviews, but also with all your struggles in terms of your career's goals. So basically, for example, if you are a bit shy student, with the success coach, you will have the opportunity to practice and to go over like your boundaries. So now let's talk a bit more about where we are. Okay, next slide. Fantastic, thank you. So basically, we have campuses all around Australia and also in the best cities for students in the world, which are Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Adelaide. We offer, as I said, more than 300 different courses from different verticals. We offer courses from about education, technology, business, design, hospitality, and we also offer English. So as I was mentioning, as Francesco was mentioning before, we also offer general English and English for academic purposes for those students that don't reach the required level to get entrance to a bachelor or a master. And also, there is another point I would like to remark here is the fact that even though we are a university, we also provide vocational courses, such as diplomas. Diplomas have 1 year duration, as you could see in the presentation just a few minutes ago. And the diplomas are the equivalent to the first year of the bachelor. So this might also be an opportunity for you if you don't feel to commit, let's say, for 3 years from the beginning, because I know Australia is far and sometimes from Europe we might have some concern about the distance and so on. So this can be also an option to apply for a diploma, and then if you decide that you are enjoying your experience in Australia, and I'm sure you will do, you can always extend to the second year of the bachelor. And well, one more thing here in Lera, you can see Lera here. Lera is a small location, as a small town located only 2 hours far away from Sydney CBD, is where our Blue Mountains Hotel School is located. In fact, in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales is basically where our students can work in a hotel environment, full simulated environment, and learn our Bachelor of International Hotel School. Okay, so now let's talk a bit more about our data. So, all right, fantastic. Thank you, Francesco. So basically we have, as I said, more than 22,000 students. Imagine that 11,000 are international. So you will be able to interact with students from all around the world, which is great. We have a huge international community. We celebrate festivals and many other traditions on campus. And of course, we also organize career events on campus, because as I said, this is a main point for Torrens, a main concern for Torrens, to provide students the practical skills to be ready for their future, for the workforce. So this is the data that shows easily this point, meaning that the 90% of employability is part of our numbers. What that means, basically, After the 6 years after the graduation, the 90% of our students find a job in their field in the next 6 months. So basically, if you have studied design with us, you will find a job in design in the next 6 months after graduation. And this is thanks to our practical approach and to the fact that our students are really job ready once they are graduated from Torrens. 95% employment rate for our students from Blue Montessori School, and 90% retention of international students. The retention means that a student starting with Torrens finish with Torrens. And this is also talks about university transfers. So we have a very, very small amount of university transfers, means that students that studying with us engage with the content we provide. They find it interesting and they find that they are learning the tools they need for the future. And last but not least, we are very proud to have a great network of industry placement and industry contacts. 3,600 industry contacts for you to provide you the practical skills you need to be ready for your future and to find a job in the field you have studied. Because of course, studying and education is also an investment, right? So this is also a great number for you to understand that the return of the investment will be way easier with the great partners on your resume. So this is pretty much it for me, Francesco. I will have many more things to say, but I will leave you right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
maybe
Flavia.
Flavia, maybe if you want, you could mention about the amazing scholarships you
absolutely
have.
Yes, absolutely. So basically at the moment I have the highest scholarship available for European students, which is up to 35% on all our programs, meaning diplomas, bachelors, masters, and PhDs. And this is great because it's a scholarship not only applicable for the first year of studies, but on the entire duration of their studies with us. So yeah, I think it's a great tool for them to apply.
That's great. And if you guys are interested in any of the course, you just contact us, and we will put in touch with Flavia as well. If you want to, you can discuss about the study opportunities at Torrens.
So
can we put a play just a question?
Yes, of course.
It is possible.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm the father of Leonardo. I have been already in contact with you, and we are planning to come to Australia in 2 years. And well, I have to say, and I have to admit that Torrens was not in my radar screen, so it's the first time I heard about it. But I was on, while you were speaking, I was on the internet site, and I had a look to the start date, and I noticed that you put 2 dates, and one is very interesting for European student, September. So
yes. Yes. This is a good point. Thank you. So basically, we are not like other universities in Australia that only provide 2 intakes per year. We do have 6 intakes per year, 3 main intakes, which are February, June, and September, and other 2 in the middle, like in April, July, and November. So yeah, September is in fact, I agree with you, one of our top choices from international students and for European students, because it is a good timing for students. They can also enjoy the European summer and then jump directly into the Australian summer. So yeah, we have an intake in September.
And last question, a quick one. Why do you have 5 campuses spread all around Australia?
Because we consider that for being a modern university, we need to be flexible and accommodate students' needs, meaning that we support mobility for students. If a student, of course, wants to apply for Sydney, let's say, and then decides to move to Melbourne because, let's say, job opportunities, we provide this flexibility to students to move around with no fee and no extra cost. And this is basically because of this. As we are a very international university, we understand that students might choose a city and after they might want to change. So that's why, just providing more opportunities for them to live the study, to live and the study experience in Australia.
Grazie Flavia, visto che sei italiana secondo me. Ciao.
Grazie.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Shall we carry on?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Will you later on go on in detail about the design courses that you have and the differences between them?
We're not going into details about specific courses, but what we can do is you can arrange a private consultation, personal consultation with us. And if you want to, we can also include Flavia, and we can discuss it together. So at the end of the presentation, you will see my contact details, my email address, and we can definitely schedule a call.
Okay, thank you.
And I would like to add one more thing. May I ask you, where are you from?
I am from Greece, but currently living and working in Germany.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. I was just wondering, because since I'm seeing on the chat that we also have some students from the Nordics, I just also wanted to let you know that we are very familiar with founding, with CSN and Lancaster. So Francesco has a lot of experience with founding, and we can also, we are more than happy to accommodate your needs as well in terms of funding from the government. All right, just wanted to add this. Thank you.
Good to know, thank you.
Okay, let's carry on with how we place an application to one education provider in Australia. And maybe Flavia, we can discuss about this together, and we can go in details for Torrens University. So you always need a passport, of course. You just do not need it to study abroad, but you also need to move abroad. So that's the first step, it's compulsory. So we always ask a scanned color copy of the passport, because sometimes we get passport pictures with, with nails or with the tablecloth. That's not professional. We cannot send these kind of pictures to our partners or to immigration. It must be a good scanned color copy, okay? Academics. So here, it depends what you would like to study. If you want to do just an English course, you don't need any academics. You don't need to provide any high school certificate or bachelor certificate. It doesn't matter. So you just need a copy of your passport. If you want to do a vocational course, you need a high school certificate, or at least you must show you have been studying at least 10 years in your home country. So I'll give you an example. In Italy, we study 13 years, but if you didn't complete your high school, so if you didn't study for the whole 13 years, you can still access some certificate if you had studied until year 10, so the second high school year. For a bachelor degree, instead, the entry requirements are a bit more strict. So you must have year 12 equivalent. Year 12 is the qualification in Australia. So as mentioned before, for example, in the UK's A-levels, or in Germany's Abitur, I think in France, Ben, is the baccalaureate, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. So baccalaureate, so French baccalaureate, so year 12 as well,
Plus a transcript of the units you did attend during your high school. So it's basically the list of the subject you studied during your last year. If you want to study a master degree, then you need a bachelor degree certificate plus the academic transcript. So it's a list of the units of the subject you've been studying during your bachelor degrees. For all documents, they must be original language. So if you are from Germany, it's okay to send us the German version, but you should add the official translation to English. That's very important, because universities in Australia do not accept documents which are not in English, okay? Nowadays, most universities or high schools issue documents in English already. So sometimes the official translation is not needed, But yeah, just keeping that in mind. English requirements. So for English courses, it depends. If you want to study general English, we mentioned before, you don't need any English requirement. If you want to study a more academic English course, such IELTS preparation, Cambridge purposes, you must have either an English certificate or you must have a decent upper intermediate or intermediate, upper intermediate, or advanced level. For vocational courses, most of the private providers in Australia do not require an official certification, but they have their own online test. So before we place the enrollment, we send you a link to the official test of the school. You submit the test, and then the school gets back to us saying, okay, the student can start the course, or no, the student needs 10 weeks of English before starting a vocational course, okay? Some vocational provided, the biggest one, they require an IELTS certification or equivalent. For a bachelor degree, they all, more or less all, require a certificate. I know Torrens does not. Maybe Flavia can explain this a little bit better. But yeah, the level must be a 6.0 IELTS or equivalent. For a master degree, it must be a 6.5 IELTS certificate or equivalent. So, for example, a Cambridge certificate. Flavia, you want to explain about Torrens and English entry requirements?
Sure. So basically, we offer a free English test for those students that don't have IELTS or other official English certificates. For example, we also accept Pearson, Cambridge, and many others. But if you don't have any of this, you can apply for free with no commitment for our free English test. We do offer this free English test every day in different time zones. So it's going to be very easy for you to sign up. And also, I also wanted to add one more thing here related to our masters. So even though that normally, of course, a bachelor degree is required to apply for the masters, if a student holds at least 3 years of management experience, and a student can demonstrate actually like provide evidences of these 3 years at least of management experience, we can also assess his profile with the, I mean, this is a decision coming from the program director. And if so, he might get entry for the master's as well without having a bachelor degree. And why this? How come? So basically, because as I said before, for us, work experience is really valuable and is really important. That's why we're open to assess also work experience to get entry for the master's. And yeah, in regards of the rest of the English requirements, I'm pretty much aligned with what you said, Francesco. So basically, we require 5.5 IELTS or equivalent, for bachelor 6 IELTS or equivalent, and for master 6.5 or equivalent. And a good question could be, what if I do the free English test and I don't reach the required mark to get into the program I have chosen? So basically, you will have the opportunity to apply for an English preparation course with a very affordable rate, since you are packaging this preparation of English with a main course with us. So this might be also an opportunity for you to still apply for the main course at Torrens.
Flavia, if I may, for IELTS, if you have studied for more than, let's say, 3-5 years in an English study, in an English school, but in a country that is not recognized as being an English-speaking country, for example, Switzerland, is it fine, or we have in any case to pass IELTS or whatever test?
Well, if the student has studied, let's say, the high school at an international school full in English, and he or she can provide evidence of this, I can assess this case. I mean, we are open to assess case by case with the program director of our English faculty. So what I will need will be to get the academic transcripts and the completion degree of this high school in English. And I will provide this to the program director, and I will get back to you with the outcome to see if it's enough to get direct entry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, shall we carry on with the steps? So how it works to study in Australia? The first step is to place the enrollment towards the education provider. Once we place enrollment, the education provider gets back to us with the offer letter, which is a letter stating all terms and conditions, payment plan, etc. of the course. Then the student must pay the deposit of the first term for the school, for the enrollment. Once the education provider receives the funds, they will issue the COE, the confirmation of enrollment, which is a document code. And we are going to use that code to apply for the student visa. Okay? As the last step of the full process, we are going to apply for the visa. Now, conditional offer letter. What does this mean? Okay, missing documents, English certification or academic transcript. Let's say, for example, you are still studying in high school, you decide you want to study in Australia, your bachelor degree, but you haven't completed your high school, so you don't have your high school certificate yet. We can still place an application towards the university. The university is going to send us a conditional offer letter mentioning, okay, I'm going to accept you, we can start the process, but you will be fully 100% able to study with us once you provide us with the high school certificate, okay? So we can even start the process before you finish high school. Same thing with the English level. So if you still don't reach the upper intermediate or 6.0 IELTS level, we can still begin the process, and the offer letter will be conditional until you meet the English requirement, okay? Enrollment date, this is our suggestion most of the time. So if you wanna study an English or a vocational course, to enroll at least 4 to 5 months before the settled intake date. For a university, at least 6 months before the intake. So what does this mean? If you arrive 2 months before, we don't say, no, you cannot. We can still do it and help you. We suggest this because the whole process could take a while, especially the student visa process. And as mentioned before, the visa application is the last step of the whole process. So you don't want to arrive with your visa pending 1 week before the course starts. It's to think in advance and do things in a proper, timely manner. Okay? Any questions about the application process? Or Flavia, do you want to add anything?
Yes, and in fact, I was typing on the chat box. So I just wanted to add that we still have spots and scholarships available for T3, which is our September intake. So I know that the most of the students are doing final exams right now. So if you are still open to consider Australia as a study destination and Torrens as an institution, we are still accepting enrollments. Thank you.
Great. So student visa, how it works. There is no age limit yes, there is, but even if you are 99 years old, like you can see in the chart, you can apply for the student visa. The course duration, it depends. As mentioned before, you could do an English course for 12 weeks and apply for a student visa up to 5 years. So you can even match your bachelor and master and get just one student visa. As which course duration and visa duration? Well, the visa duration is basically as long as your course duration plus 1 or 2 or 3 months at the end of your studies, okay? So if you study just 1 year, you're gonna get 1 month at the end of your studies. If you study more than 1 year, you're gonna get 2 months. If your studies are longer than 1 year and you finish around the 5th December, you're gonna get at least 2/3 months. So your visa is going to expire around the 15th of March. Okay. Then the cost, I already put 715 Australian dollars. Actually, the price right now is 650, but from the 1st of July is going to increase to 715. So if you are still thinking to study in Australia and you want to organize everything in a couple of weeks, you're going to pay $650 the visa fee, not 715. How to pay? You will be paid directly on the immigration website. So we're going to help you with the visa application, but then you're going to be responsible to submit the payment on the immigration website. Anyway, we are going to guide you through the whole process. The documents we need for the student visa, of course, your passport, okay? The health insurance or SHC. So the health insurance is compulsory for all student visa applicants, okay? So even if you come from Germany, for example, and I know you guys pay for your private health insurance, unfortunately, your health insurance in Germany is not gonna be valid to study in Australia. You must apply for SHC. We can help you with that. The cost is pretty much $45 per month, and you must pay in advance for the entire duration of your visa, okay? So if you study for 1 year, you must pay in advance for 1 year. For 3 years, you must pay the total fee for 3 years. What we need is the COE, as mentioned before. The COE is the document which contains basically a summary of what you're going to study plus the code we need to put in the student visa application. GT letter, this is a motivational letter where you are going to explain your reasons why you want to study in Australia. Okay, so this is the most critical part of the whole student visa application. Luckily, in Go Study Australia, we have dedicated teams helping you writing your GT letter. So we are going to send you a guideline to follow on how to write it. We're gonna ask you to send us a first draft, okay? We're gonna review it, edit it. We're gonna send it back to you for a final review, and then we're gonna attach the GT letter on your visa application. So, carrying on, biometrics and health examination. So it depends where you're from. So the nationality shown on your passport and where you apply from. So for example, if you are, Ben knows this very well, if you are from France, you must submit biometrics, as if you are from Germany, you don't have to. If you are applying from, let's say, from Germany, but your passport is from Sri Lanka, you still have to do the health examination because it's based on the nationality shown on your passport. Anyway, for any questions, happy to reply at the end of the presentation, or you can send us an email. Waiting time here is a bit of a pain. So when we send an application to the immigration, it's a kind of black hole. So the application can be granted for after 1 minute, or it can be in the application, it can be on the immigration hands for 2-3 months. So luckily, Go Study Australia works with mainly European countries. And in Europe, we are very, very lucky because usually our student visa applications are approved. We have an approval rate of visa very, very high. But yes, as said, Europeans do not have to worry too much about the student visa, especially because you guys get a full help from us as well. Work. So again, right now, actually, until the 1st of July, there is no limitation about working hours. This is due to the post-pandemic situation in Australia with the shortage labor. But yeah, again, from the 1st of July, students will be allowed to work 48 hours fortnightly, which means 24 hours per week, basically. Good thing to mention here is when your course is on break, you can work unlimited hours. So let's say in one semester you have 26 weeks in 6 months. You will be studying, let's say, pretty much 22 weeks, and you will have 4 weeks off from your studies. In those 4 weeks, you are allowed to work as many hours as you want. Any questions?
Seems not, but I'm trying to follow you as well, Francesco, writing some more information about your presentation, if they want to read as well.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about accommodation. You can choose different kinds of accommodation when you apply from offshore, from outside Australia. So hostel, share apartment, student residence, homestay. How to look for accommodation? Us, as Go Study Australia, we have exclusive agreement with some real estate agencies in Australia. So we can organize your accommodation prior to your departure. We also work with some hostel and we work with student residents as well. So we can definitely help you to organize your accommodation before departure. You can also organize your accommodation through your education provider. For example, if you want to stay in a homestay, most of the education providers help you to find a homestay with a family where to live. You are welcome to look also for your own accommodation, and of course you can use Flatmates, Facebook, Marketplace, Gumtree, etc., and word of mouth with other students. So maybe you know someone who is already in Australia and he's willing to share his room with you. So yeah, that's another opportunity. Good to know, book in advance. So especially after the pandemic, in Australia, there was a surplus of application for accommodation. And we saw that many education providers or agencies weren't able to accommodate everyone's needs. So if you're flying to Australia, we suggest book your accommodation as soon as you know your flight, okay? So at least 2-3 months before, in order to avoid any misunderstanding or in order to pay a lot of money. One tip we give is to share a room, okay? So Australia has a good salary system, but it's also pretty expensive. So to share a room is definitely a good way to save some money. About the share apartments or also some student residents, they do ask in advance for a bond, so which is a deposit for 2 or 4 weeks. Of course, the deposit will be given back to you at the end of your stay. And in Australia, landlords or residents require weekly payment in advance. So you don't have to pay once you are in Australia every month. You usually pay every week or every 2 weeks. So advice, as mentioned before, there are requests. So yeah, book in advance your place. Any questions about accommodation? Nope. Okay, student jobs. So Australia is one of the lucky countries where you can work while you study, okay? Not many other English-speaking countries allow you to work when you study. So the great thing is the pay rate is pretty high. So 21.38 Australian dollars per hour on a weekly salary. And this is not if you work as a doctor. This is even if you wash dishes. So
this is the minimum salary in Australia.
Correct. Yeah. So it's starting from. Penalty rates apply for Sunday work and extra hours. So especially if you work in hospitality or in retail, in shops, if you work Saturday, Sunday, or if you work extra hours, you're going to get paid more. Sometimes it's 20%, sometimes it's 50%. If you work in certain public holidays, you'll sometimes get double pay. So it means, for example, you work on Christmas Day, you can earn easily $42 per hour, okay? Where to look for a job? Of course, the internet. So several websites, Gumtree, Seek, LinkedIn, Indeed, word of mouth, very important, again, so networking, door to door. So put a smile on your face, go to the area in the city where there are many restaurants, just enter the restaurant and ask for a job, okay? That's still, I think, the most efficient way to find a job in Australia. The industries, delivery, hospitality, housekeeping, babysitting, sales, construction. Of course, these are not limited to these industries. So if you are, for example, a specialized designer, you can work as a designer, or if you have experience in marketing, you can work in marketing. What is compulsory to work? The tax file number. So it's the social security number usually. It's the Codice Fiscale in Italy, for example. It's free of charge. We are going to help you with our onshore office once you arrive there. And you can apply for the tax file number only when you are on site. So you cannot apply while you're still abroad. You must apply once you are in Australia. Australian business number, this is for entrepreneurs. For example, if you want to work in delivery, you must have the Australian business number. Again, it's free of charge, and you can apply only from Australia. Again, you're gonna get help from us, from our Australian offices, to apply for the Australian business number while you are there. Our tips: seek on site, so the door-to-door, and look for a job once you are in Australia. The network, amazing. So if you hear your schoolmate who is leaving, just ask him, where are you working right now? And then go and try to get his job while he's leaving. Of course, you're gonna be in an English-speaking country, so your understand of English must be very good. And also your talking skills must be very good. Smile and be positive. No employers want a sad person working. So yeah, always keep a smile on your face. Any questions so far? I need some water, so please ask a question.
Yeah, feel free to drink, Francesco. So if you have any question, guys, feel free to put it on the chat box or take the talk by voice.
Okay, the 485 visa. This is very interesting. So for the graduate work stream, so when you study at least 2 years at the vocational level, and the qualification is included in the SOL list. Guys, we're not gonna go into details about this. You can send us an email later. Then you are allowed to apply for 18 months postgraduate visa, okay? So you study for 2 years. Your qualification is listed in this list. Well, you are allowed to work to stay 18 months extra upon completion of your studies working full time. Okay, this is for a vocational qualification. If you do a higher education course for at least 2 years, it doesn't matter if it is or not in the SOL list, you can apply from 3 to 5 years postgraduate visa. Okay, so the duration of the visa, it depends if you complete a bachelor degree or a master degree, and if your qualification is listed in the SOL. But in any case, you're gonna get at least 3 or 5 years of work. Okay, they're very, very important. So especially who is willing to study and maybe plan a future in Australia, we always suggest to go through a higher education program. We all know it's more expensive. I mean, I've been a student myself in Australia, so I exactly know how it works. But after the initial investment, and if you complete, for example, a master at Torrens University, as some amazing master at pretty affordable price, you will get 3 years of post-study work permit in Australia. So always consider this possibility. Okay.
Francesco, sorry to interrupt. We have like an attendant and Flavia who has question. Yeah. So Ada, if you have a question, feel free to go ahead.
I just have a question in regards to scholarships as well. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but just because I'm not sure, I didn't hear, but if, for example, of course, you mentioned that they're quite expensive, and I would be self-funding. So I wanted to know if there's any possibilities for special scholarships for this type of visa, or anything that maybe we could consider where the funding will go down.
Okay. Flavia, I'll answer then. If you want to get more specific about Torrens scholarships, you can. So at most of universities, I would say all education providers in Australia do not offer full scholarships, okay? So it's not possible to get the full amount up front and pay for your studies in Australia. There are some partial scholarship. For example, Torrens right now has an amazing scholarship up to 35% of the tuition fee, okay? But yeah, you cannot get a full amount to study in Australia. There are other scholarships, for example, the Destination Australia, if you decide to go and study in remote regional areas, so not in a city, but in remote areas where you can get almost 50% sometimes of your tuition fee, but they are very particular cases. So our suggestion is always try to figure out what your budget is, okay? Based on your budget and your study interest, we can suggest either if you can go for a higher education program, or maybe for you is more suitable a vocational program, because vocational studies are more affordable rather than higher education programs. Okay.
Thank you, Francesco. And also studying vocational programs, you can have like a pathway to higher education if you cannot afford the full price of 1 year studying higher education. Now we have a question from Leon. Leon?
Yeah, I also wanted to just confirm what Francesco said before about if you do a master's course, do you also get to apply for the 485?
Yes, you can, Leon, as long as your studies are at least 2 years long.
But so, master's is a year, no?
No. Some masters are 1 year or 1.5 year, but your studies must be at least 2 years to be eligible for the postgraduate.
And if you do just a year or 1.5, you're not eligible.
It must be at least 2 academic years, which are, I think, 92 or 96 weeks. So it's just less than 2 years.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
I would like to quickly add something. Yeah, all right. You read my mind. So basically, I just want to clarify that we do have 2 different kind of masters, right? Master regular, which is 1.5 years, and master advanced. If you apply for the master advanced, which is 2 years, you are able to apply for the 485 visa. Also, to give you a tip, like an additional information about this, you don't have to worry about upfront payment. I mean, apart of the fact of the scholarship, we have mentioned it before, you will be paying by trimesters, not upfront. I'm just clarifying this because sometimes students think that they need to pay the whole year upfront.
Good point. Yeah.
So basically, for example, just to give you an average, with a 30% scholarship, a master can cost you around 7,000 Australian dollars by trimester, which is in euros 4,300 more or less the trimester. All right. Also consider that you will have internships during your second year, where you will be able to increase your networking and also gain work experience. And many of our students find a job and actually stay with the employer they have done the internships with, right? I think this is also really important. And in fact, the 80% of our students in the year and a half after graduation, considering the Australian salary, right, as you could see, is pretty high, they have the return of the investment. So in the year and a half, this is great. I mean, considering also the salaries and the investment you have done in the education, you have covered this, and you are also you have a certificate in your hands, and you have the opportunity to stay in Australia with full job rights after graduation for up to 6 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Flavia. Any other questions? Shall we carry on? Okay, so why leading with GoStudy? We have more than 16 years experience. Of course, our name is GoStudy Australia. We are very focused on Australia. We know Australia very well. I personally lived in Australia for 8 years. So I live between Sydney and Perth. I am extremely knowledgeable of these two cities, but I visit more or less all Australia. Ben as well has been living in Australia and has been working for GoStudy for many years. We have 15 offices between Europe, Latin America, and Australia. We help more than 40,000 travelers in 16 years. So feel free to go online and check our reviews. We think we do it pretty well. Then we have a policy where we have the best price guaranteed, so we can match any offer you can provide us. So as mentioned, we are an education agency specialized with international students in Australia. Very good to mention is beside Europe, Latin America, you will have onshore support when you arrive in Australia. So we have physical offices in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Gold Coast. So you will get our full support from here offshore. Then when you are in Australia, you have a person who is dedicated to help you with anything you need. So how it works, more or less the steps. First of all, the consultation. So you get in touch with us. We usually set up a call with you. And we can share our experience, we can listen to you, and together we found the most suitable study path in Australia. Getting ready, we choose together the city, or we listen to your preference, and again we organize your study program. Applications, so we mentioned before, we organize everything for you, and it's free of charge. So enrollment, the SHC, the health insurance, the student visa, and accommodation. Yeah, I think we didn't mention, but our support doesn't cost anything to students. So you don't have an extra cost to enroll and to do all the process through us. Okay, we get paid by the education providers in Australia. So for students, our support is totally free. Then organize your pre-departure. So purchase your flight ticket. We can open even a bank account for you, which is totally free. This is happening more or less 1 week before your departure date. And then before your departure, we're going to send you an email with a summary of all documents you need, your accommodation address, who will be the person in charge to welcome you when you arrive in Australia. And point number 5, the arrival. So our onshore offices organize welcome session. So you will be great. It will be great for you to go to our office and talk with our onshore counselors. SIM card. So I know, for example, in France, you can get the SIM card, or in Italy as well, before departure. But if you didn't get your SIM card while you're still in Europe, you can get it once you are in Australia. We always run a job session. So we explain our students how to look for a job while you are in Australia. We send a newsletter with job opportunities. We organize your tax file number, your Medicare, your health insurance, how to activate it, etc. Then we create WhatsApp group for each city where we put all our students and we let them network with each other. Then, as said, we have 5 offices: Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Gold Coast. We run events and free seminars for students. We do have discounts on RSA, which is a certificate you need to work in hospitality. The tax return, we have discount with consultation of a migration agent, and we are there. I mean, we are all people who love Australia, who have been in Australia or are in Australia, and so we are always there if you need anything. So we are a great support for you during your stay.
Yes, thank you, Francesco.
Any questions?
So yes, Ada has a question. She just.
I'm going to show myself because
we can see you.
Yep. Sorry, I have.
So finally, you can see my face as well.
So I've overheard that while I'm studying there, I'm also allowed to work. So my question is, with the 485 visa, how much am I able to work, or how many hours per week? And if I'm able to work with the visa, because I know that, for example, for the 417 visa, you can't work always. So depending on the visa type, there is restricted hours. So I just wanted to check.
Yeah, I can answer if you want to, Ben.
Yes, please.
So Ada, the 485 visa is the postgraduate visa. So once you complete your studies, with that visa, you can work unlimited hours. There is no limitation for you. Okay?
Yeah.
On the student visa, you can work 48 hours every 2 weeks. So basically 24 hours per week. You don't have any limitation of the type of work. So she's just gone. She wasn't happy with my reply. It's okay.
Yeah, but you replied to the question.
For the others, you're here again. Okay.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi disconnected me.
No, I was just saying that there is
I apologize.
No limitation about the type of work. You can do any kind of job. Okay. But yeah, on a student visa, you can work 24 hours during your school period. During the school period, you have breaks. On the school break, you can work unlimited hours.
Okay. Even does that also apply to doctor programs and PhD programs, or is it limited the student visa to master programs and bachelor programs?
On a PhD, you can work unlimited hours.
PhD and doctorate, because I know that Australia.
PhD, doctorate, yeah, you can work unlimited hours. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any question else?
You said earlier that you're gonna give us your contact details at the end.
Yeah, you're right. It was on the last slide, but I closed it.
Okay, I screenshotted it. So it's fine.
But
I'm writing it on my on the chat box.
Yeah, but just to let you know that there will be a follow-up email sent tomorrow, and you will get the details of Francesco, who is looking after the wider Europe and all the Europe markets where we don't have offices, and I'm not sure that we have French people over there, but if it's French people, we will have the responsible of higher education programs in France as well, following up as well. So you will get all the details by email, and also the recorded webinar that I've just recorded today.
And also, if someone has specific questions about study programs, we can organize another meet with Flavia, who is very keen. Yeah, is always very kind with our students, so we can organize and talk all together about the programs.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
Seems not. So everyone is okay at the moment. So we have someone, Laura Gaidi.
Laura Guidi, I think.
No, it's my wife. Sorry, I'm working on.
It's okay.
So no more question?
No, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Good. Thanks, guys. So as Ben said, we are going to send the presentation tomorrow. So it will be also available on YouTube. I don't know when, but pretty soon. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Francesco. Thank you so much, Flavia. Thank you, everyone, for attending the webinar about our education. Have a great evening, and we hope to hear back from you soon, and sending you in Australia, and why not to Torrens University.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Bye.